Welcome to day 4 of Vlogmas. Today I do not feel like much of anything. There's nothing wrong particularly, but I just have low energy and low joy today. So today I'm going to talk to you about grief and what happens when you are experiencing that during the holiday season. I don't particularly feel like I'm thinking about like people I'm grieving or anything. I don't know. It's just like a really blah day. It's really, really dark and sad looking outside. So I don't know. But anyway, the dress is too old for me to... Wait, no, I lied. I recently found like a newer version of this dress. I will link it below. This necklace, I think, is from Anthropology, and it is just my initial. So if I can find it, I will link that as well. And this little coat again. So like a little coat again for Houston, because it's oftentimes not really cold enough for like a big old coat. So I'll link it below too. And today my shoes are from Old Navy. They look like this. They're not exciting. Let's go find a little entertainment. If not joy, then entertainment. Today I got the salmon witch, and they actually put enough mayo on my bread and some fruit and some chips and an iced tea. So as you can see, I am at the Katy Honda Service Center. My vlog and day totally went off the rails. I might have to get in my car. So those people were not blowing at me. I thought they were. Yeah, so after I ate lunch, I came out and my doggone battery was dead. And I'll spare you all of the details, but I've had some issues with this car and the battery over the entire time I've owned this car. So hopefully things are sorted out. I was able to get out here and get the car fixed all within the same day, but now I have not done any other things I was supposed to do today, and I actually really still need to go to the grocery store. It's 6:02, so maybe like not the whole day is shot, but let's check out what I just paid almost $250 for. So here we are, we got a new battery, got the logo on it. The car needs so many things today. It's so needy. So needy. Hello, fun car with your fun colors. Hello again. So I've made it back home after my very adventurous day with my car. Everything is okay. The battery is replaced. I am $250 less than what I had this morning, but all in all, everything was okay. Someone at the restaurant gave me a jump, like a boost. So I was able to save the cost of like calling AAA or whatever, like whoever, roadside assistance. And yeah, it was just, just a lot going on today. So before I log off, I want to share some ways that I cope with grief. I know this is like a hell of a transition. I know. But I did mention earlier that I was going to tell you a little bit about how I cope with grief during the holidays. So I just first want to acknowledge that I understand you may not be, and trigger warning. So if this is where I leave you, I'll see you tomorrow for the next Vlogmas. But anyway, so personally, I have lost 3 like major people in my family, and around the holidays, one of them had a birthday that was the day before Christmas, and she passed away the day before her birthday. And so that one is always, losing her is always the one that's really, really the most heavy on my mind around this time of year. And, that's just like really, really tough. It's been several years since this happened, which is how I'm able to talk about it without like immediately crying. Right now, you ask me tomorrow, I'll probably be crying. But every year it just brings up, feelings of loss. And I recently learned this word, but I don't remember the word. If I can think of it, I'll put it on the screen. But I recently learned this word that describes the feeling that you have when you miss something that you will never have. And that is how I experience grief during the holidays. Like this feelings of wanting to see my loved ones again and wanting to feel that the way that Christmas used to feel before they passed away, and knowing like there's, like just knowing that in this reality, in this matrix, in this timeline, that is like an impossibility. That is really, really hard. I feel like that is one of the things that grief morphs into over the years. So like when you first lose someone, you miss them and it's sad, and it's like that new raw sadness that's a little easier to describe. But as the years go on, the grief can morph into this pain around impossibility. So if that is what is happening for you, I just want to give you a big old virtual hug. I know a lot of days I could really use a hug, virtually or not. But if that's going on for you, I just want to say I see you and I am right there with you. So how do I cope with this during the holiday season, especially as a person who is really a Christmas person? I like amongst my friends and amongst even the rest of my family, I feel like I'm probably the most like rah Christmas person. And my family member who passed away kind of maybe she gave that energy to me. And I think that's kind of like why it hurts a lot. And I still hold on to that like rah Christmas kind of energy. So what do I do? At this point in time, like I said, it's been several years since she has passed, but it does make me happy to connect with her in some kind of way each year. So every year for the past about going on like 8 or 9 years, I have a small Christmas party for my friends, and I make a point to bring up her name in some kind of way. Like you can ask my friends, they have all heard of my family member that I'm talking about, but I make it a point to like bring her up or mention her name or just, or just something amongst my family. When I go home to visit them, I make it a point to bring up her name. We talk about her, we reminisce. She was very hilarious, like one of the most funny and genuine people that I have ever known. So we always, reminisce about, what she did and how she was. And that makes me feel better because it makes me feel like I have not forgotten her. I'm not afraid to talk about her. I'm not afraid to revisit the pain, the tenderness, the grief of losing someone, because knowing her and having her in my life was really one of the best parts of my childhood, honestly. So I definitely, this is just how I stay connected. It can be hard, and sometimes I cry about it, sometimes I don't, but it still just serves my soul really well to remain connected to her. So that is one thing that I can, offer to you. Another thing that I do, and you can probably tell, is that I don't try too hard to hide when I'm feeling sad around Christmas time. I feel like I used to, but now as I get older, I'm not really trying to hide much of like anything at all, but I just, feelings wise, I'm not trying to hide stuff. So I just, when I feel sad, I just am sad. And there is some power to that. There is some power to, no matter how long it's been since you've lost someone, there is some power to just letting yourself continue to experience whatever that grief is, however it manifests. Because if you do your best to like punch it down, boom, 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 guess what? It never heals. It's kind of like peeling off a scab, like the wound starts to scab over. And if you don't just let it be, so that might mean crying, that might mean journaling, that might mean talking to somebody. If you don't just let it be, it does not continue to heal. And ignoring your feelings about whatever is going on, it's like pulling the scab off over and over and over and over. Because your mind, your body, your heart, your soul, all the things, it knows that you have been through something that is traumatic or, feels like a loss. So it's really important to acknowledge your feelings about things. And look at me right now. Look at me. I don't like, I am not a like feelings on my sleeve kind of person. I am not a, like let's feel, like it goes against kind of a lot of my nature to be that way. So take it from me. If I'm telling you, you got to suck it up and cry it out. You got to suck it up and just feel your feelings. Take it from a person who is really like, do it, please. Just let yourself be sad. And also, I've also found that when I let myself experience whatever the thing is, a negative, not really negative, but a negative emotion, if I let myself just experience it, it usually doesn't last as long as if I just like try to fight it. So there you go. And then I also wanted to acknowledge that grief is not always about somebody dying. I have this whole time, I've been talking about people who have literally passed away. But grief is not only about, somebody passed away. It can also be about what you may have wanted for your life. I learned another word that describes this that I can't remember the name of it. Never heard these words before. But there's also a word that describes the grief that you feel for a life that you fear you will never experience. So that's a little bit different. Like the possibility is there, but you're not currently experiencing it, or you thought things would be some way and they're not, or whatever, right? So for me, I feel this too. There are lots of things, well, not a lot of things, honestly, but there are a couple of things, not that many, there are a couple of things in my life that I still want to experience when it comes to interpersonal relationships, right? I would like to one day experience like a really honest and open and supportive romantic relationship. I'm not currently experiencing that, but for people who want that, who are like in the throes of wanting that, and you feel some type of way about not having that, that is a type of grief that you can also acknowledge, that you can also be very kind to yourself this holiday season. And you can also tell people to get out your business. Thankfully, my family does not ask me a lot about my personal life, so I'm appreciative of that. But I have heard of, you go to family dinner and like you're single for the second year in a row or whatever, and your family's like, where's your boyfriend? Where's your girlfriend? Tell them people to get out of your business. That'll make you feel better too, to tell them to get out your business. So yeah, I invite you this holiday season, if you have some grief, to sit with it, to journal about it, to talk to somebody you trust, to, if it's someone who's passed on, try to honor them in some way, bring out the pictures of them, tell the stories. If you come from a very, my family, it's kind of the opposite of me, boisterous, and funny and loud and like all of these things. If you come from that kind of family, sit around and tell crazy stories about the person who's passed away. And that is just so healing. I can't describe it other than that, but then just to say it's healing. So I hope that this has been helpful, just to share a little bit about what I'm going through and stuff. But yeah, if you have other suggestions, you can leave them in the comments. Let me know. I'm always glad to connect with other people, especially when it comes to loss, because I have some experience with that. So thank you for watching the vlog for today. I'll be back for tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow I will finally get to the grocery store because I still don't have groceries. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.